Alright guys, as promised, today we got the S24 Plus versus the S24 Ultra here. This is going to be a pretty good comparison because a lot of people do not need the features that you get on the S24 Ultra. You can save a little bit of money actually here. So I do want to start off with the actual price of these phones because that is pretty much what this is based around here. So you can find a new S24 Plus for around $780, and then you can get an S24 Ultra for around, $1,000 plus here. But typically a used refurbished version like this one right here is going for $723. So you can save quite a bit of money, and you really probably don't need to spend that over $1,000 on the Ultra model here. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started here. So I do really like the overall hardware of the S24 Plus. This is going to be the main, I think, selling point is the hardware difference here. So this is a much more comfortable phone to hold than the Ultra phone. Especially when you put a case on the Ultra, it makes it a little bit wider as well too. So if you have smaller hands, this might not be a comfortable phone to hold here. As you can see, it kind of pokes the palm a little bit on the Plus model here. You can see it curves into the palm, so it's a little bit more comfortable to hold. As far as the design, they are pretty similar, as you can see. As far as design here, one of the differences with the Ultra model is that we do have the titanium, which makes this size phone a little bit lighter, which is something that I really like as well too. But overall, they're both premium designs, premium materials here, and they look really good. I had a couple people talking about the rails on the S24. I've kept mine in a case just because of the 15 Pro Max was getting scratched up in the case, but this one has held up. I don't have any scratches on my S24 Ultra as far as the sides go. So I think the material is fine here, but on the iPhone it was just getting scratched up even with the case on it for some reason. But again, the main selling point with these two models here, the difference is going to be the S Pen. So I would say this: a lot of you guys are not actually going to use the S Pen, and I know that just from talking to people who buy these Galaxy phones. I think a lot of people, they just they want to spend the money to get the best phone, but they don't actually use the features of the S Pen here. So this phone is fantastic for digital artwork. It's really cool as well if you are a content creator, so you can take pictures from a distance with the Bluetooth pen here, and you can take videos, and it just makes everything easy. You set it up on a tripod. It just makes everything really easy. Samsung has also a bunch of features in here as well too, like Smart Select, sketch to image. This is on the S24 Plus as well too, but it just makes it overall a little bit more accurate, more fun on the pen. So like I said, it really depends on whether you're going to use these features or not. But like I said, most people I don't think are going to use the pen. Alright, so let's talk about the displays on both of these phones here. So these displays look really good. They're both extremely similar when it comes to overall color as well too, and quality wise they're pretty much the same here. The difference is in the display size and the overall display shape here. So you can see we have a more squared off design on the Ultra, and bezel wise they look really good as well too. Both of them really nice thin bezels. Yeah, you have a 6.7 inch display on the Plus model, and then on the Ultra you have a 6.8 inch display here. So you do have a a little bit of a bigger panel here. But yeah, it's not really that much different. They're both LTPO AMOLED, 120 Hz, HDR10 Plus. They're both 2600 nits peak brightness. They're both 1440p. They both have the 500 PPI pretty much. And yeah, so overall display wise, there's really not a lot of difference here. It really comes down to which display that you think is better, the more squared off or the overall kind of curved display here. As far as the overall specs go and the speed difference here, there's not really too much of a difference at all because I have the same models. I have both the Snapdragon models here. So we have the Snapdragon 8 Gen 3 on both of these phones, and then we also do have 256 gigs of internal storage and 12 gigs of RAM. The S24 is the 512 gigabyte model, the Ultra model. But as far as the Geekbench scores, for some reason I did get a slightly higher score on my Plus. But as far as performance, the performance is going to be roughly the same, guys. So I wouldn't necessarily worry about is there actual performance difference here. They might be a little bit, yeah, looks like the Plus was a little bit faster loading that up there, but it's not anything that you could really recognize. Let's see here. Let's try something else. That one had a pop up. Let's try PUBG here. I don't know, man. It looks like the Plus is a little bit faster, just by a hair. Yeah, it just seems like it's a little bit faster for some reason. So as far as the gaming experience goes, I haven't noticed any difference at all with both of these phones when it comes to performance, how they heat up. Gaming performance is identical on both of these phones. You can play pretty much anything, PUBG, Genshin, Call of Duty. You can play everything at very high settings, so no issues with overall performance here, as you can see. And yeah, it feels smooth. That was one of the things that I was looking for, was if the S24 Plus was going to heat up a little bit more, or, you know, any type of difference. But there is pretty much no difference at all when it comes to performance on these two phones. I also ran a 3D Mark for you guys here, so we can kind of look at that, and it's pretty much the same. So for those that were, you know, asking about the performance here, they are pretty much identical in terms of how they drain battery life. The only thing that I noticed difference here is that the S24 Plus was at 25 to 30, and then we have 24 to 29. So the S24 Ultra was a little bit cooler to start and to end the test, but that was about it. So this is an area where I think most people do not need the extra features, or you may not need the extra features. So on the S24 Ultra, you have a more beefier camera setup. It's a 200 megapixel standard. It's a 10 megapixel telephoto. It has 3 times optical zoom. You also have a 50 megapixel periscope telephoto with 5 times optical zoom, and this goes all the way up to 100 times zoom here. You also have an 8K 24 and 30 video with a 12 megapixel selfie at 4K 60. The S24 Plus has a 50 megapixel standard, a 10 megapixel telephoto with 3 times optical zoom. This one goes up to 30 times zoom. And then you also have a 12 megapixel ultra wide. It can also shoot in 8K 24 and 30 with a 12 megapixel selfie that also shoots in 4K 60. So check out the side-by-side stills and video. Let me know what you guys think. Let's see if we can spot a difference with the speaker quality. Yeah, so the S24 Ultra definitely has the better bass. It is a little bit more pronounced. It's very close. They're both pretty loud as well too, but yeah, the bass is a little bit louder. There's a little bit more detail here. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's a dramatic difference, but there definitely is a noticeable difference that you can hear the bass a little bit more. I don't think it's it's anything too crazy. The S24 Plus is pretty close. So both of these phones do have the Galaxy AI features on here, so if you guys want to take advantage of all the features, that is going to be on both of these devices as well too, which is really nice. So I guess we can also talk about battery life. So the battery life is really not that much different on both of these phones here. They pretty much feel exactly the same. They both have the same standby time. They both have the same, pretty much the same screen on time for me. So I don't really notice an issue. You have a slightly smaller battery at 4,900 milliamps versus the 5,000 milliamps. But it's not really, that big of a deal. They both have the same charging specs as well too, at 45 watts with wireless and reverse wireless charging too at the same charging specs as well. So overall they charge the same, battery life is the same, so there's nothing really too different here when it comes to that. Overall, I think that this comparison really comes down to do you need the zoom photography and do you need the S Pen? If you don't need the zoom photography or the S Pen, I didn't see that big of a difference with the camera quality at all, in my opinion. And then also there are some benefits of going with the Plus model, as it's a little bit smaller, so it's a little bit more comfortable if you have smaller hands, and also the way it's shaped makes it more comfortable as well too. But besides that, both phones are very similar. So be sure to let me know what you guys think, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.